how would I do that? What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today we're gonna be doing a trying new makeup video. We haven't done one of those in a while, and I have a bunch of cool stuff to show you guys. It's a lot of stuff that I've been using off camera lately, but that I haven't gotten to combine all in one look. Starting with the new Hourglass foundation. We're gonna talk about this. I have a couple of things from Sephora Collection that I saw that, went viral on TikTok probably like a year ago or something, but the gloss lip gloss and the Size Up mascara. I have the new YSL little lip and cheek balmy tint. I got it in the shade New Chills because it's a very fluorescent color. I have a new quad from Guerlain. I am trying to kind of get my head around a bunch of different luxury quad formulas to maybe hopefully make a video on that topic at some point. And I have a couple of other things that you guys have probably seen a couple of times, but I want to use them some more. So I'm hoping to get something kind of elegant today. I know that this foundation is medium to buildable, which sets the tone for a kind of made up look in the end, but we'll see where we get with this mixed bag. Let's go ahead and jump in. The hair is actually looking really good today, but in order to put my makeup on, I need access to my whole face. So we're gonna ponytail it. Somebody in my comments, she's gonna keep laughing at me. She actually already apologized to me. She's like, I'm sorry that like this will never leave your head now, but she said, of course you don't look good in black, or don't think that you look good in black, or like don't like wearing black, whatever. She didn't say it in a rude way, but of course not, because I am apparently a soft autumn. Things that I did not know about the color theory of my skin, cultural references, things like that. So that was all I did yesterday while I was getting a pedicure, was sit there and look up the color theory of a soft autumn. So yes, this is the Ambient Soft Glow Foundation from Hourglass. I got it in the shade 3 and she is $58, comes in 36 shades. And it is a medium to buildable with like a natural finish, but they claim to have kind of like radiant blurring particles in here. While I'm putting this on, I just kind of want to chat about my experience with it so far. So a little context here. If you're unaware, Hourglass has been one of the more kind of like stick their fingers in their ears, pretend no one is talking about inclusivity of shade ranges. For like the last few years. I mean, they truly have been like, what? We're totally inclusive. We're like super inclusive, and we definitely do not need to be addressing this or, being part of this conversation at all. They eventually put out an ambient lighting palette that was like a little bit deeper, I want to say, over the holidays, and it really was like a little too late for a lot of people, because that was the whole thing, was that not only did their foundation shade ranges not go particularly deep, or were they particularly exhaustive. Honestly, I could only wear one of their foundations even with my skin tone, because it didn't go particularly light either. That is not trying to center myself in the conversation. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot missing from their foundation ranges, and that sucked because their formulas are just notoriously beautiful. Like, everybody that they can get a match and then just completely raves about them. The ambient lighting palette being so magical and everybody being like a collector, when in reality it's not everybody. It's people who, it matched their skin, which is light-skinned people, were collecting the holiday palettes and things like that, where those things were looking pretty ashy. And they were calling them universal, and they were looking pretty ashy on deeper skin tones, and Hourglass just was like not having any of it. They were just not having the conversation. People were like showing up in their comments, and especially starting in 2020, in June 2020, during Black Lives Matter and everything, like all these people were like, it's freaking about time, like for you to like acknowledge this conversation. And actually Samantha Ravindall, someone who had been partnering with them for years because they are so vocally cruelty free, she came out and denounced them on Twitter, I want to say, and said that she wasn't going to be partnering with them until they expanded their shade ranges, which was a blow, I think, publicly for them. For her to come out and say that was very like, yikes, you know what I mean? Like, get your crap together. So I really wish that they had made a more public statement being like, we hear you, we're gonna acknowledge it and we're gonna work on it, because then people would have stopped, well, not necessarily stopped, but like maybe been a little more patient with them. But the fact that like they just decide like, okay, we're gonna release a palette that has, you know, deeper tones to it, you know, more saturated, whatever, and like that was supposed to pacify people, or people didn't know that they were gonna be working on a foundation with a larger shade range like this one. I really wish that there had been a conversation to go along with it that was like, hey, like, just hold on, we hear you, we're gonna try something, can you be patient with us, can we like try and like learn out loud? There was none of that. The reason that I chose to try this is because A, it has a large shade range. I mean, 36 is not the world's largest shade range, but it does go deep, and it has some, I mean, to my eye, it has a large selection of undertones for deep skin tones. Does that mean everybody's included? Probably not, but just as a reviewer, I wanted to include it because there are probably people with deep skin who would be curious about it. There are still people who, despite all of the ignorance from Hourglass in the past, are still excited, maybe privately, you know, to have a foundation in their line that they can actually try and enjoy and get the Hourglass experience, or just, you know, understand what it's about. And, you know, I think that it all comes with like, you know, 800 caveats of just saying like, here is where we have been with this brand. I'm probably leaving out even more details because, let's be real, like I don't just go and like, you know, scroll through their comments and things like that. I just kind of remember the larger landmarks. But also the thing that I have noticed that kind of, it was more like I bought it because I wanted to know for myself like where we stood, right? But also, as soon as I tried this, I noticed that it's kind of interesting. It reminds me of skin tints and medium coverage foundations that I have tried, or even full coverage foundations that I have tried from Black owned brands. The LYS one, the Fenty Eavesdrop, the one from they're a little bit more matte, and it's almost like you can tell that they have been formulated for not the typical clean beauty skin type, you know? And the typical clean beauty skin type tends to be the, you know, dry-skinned white woman like me. And so putting this on, I was like, oh, okay. Like it's almost like they hired a person of color, or maybe more than one even, to help them formulate this, because it just feels like, for once, I'm not their primary customer on this release. So that's where I'm gonna leave that until we get the whole face of makeup on and everything, but I'm gonna kind of show you the finish when it dries down and everything. And I did, not that this is like, again, my apology or my gesture to accept, but they did show this on a black skinned model, a very like deep black skinned model on their Instagram. I started following the model. She's so pretty, and I saw her in another brand's ad too. I can't remember who, but regardless, beautiful, beautiful skin. And when she put her shade on, it was a perfect match. There was no like blend to adapt to, you know what I mean? Like it's too red or it's too green or it's too gold or whatever. Like she had a match, and I was like, okay. I mean, again, I'm no expert in these things, and you know, I leave it up to someone like Coco Swatches for the final word, or you know, just the user at the end of the day. But I did want to review it and show it to the people on my channel who, you know, don't look like me and don't have skin tones like me, because I know that y'all are there. I know that y'all are there, and I want to make sure everybody feels, you know, taken care of to the best of my ability. So yeah, this is the initial dry down. Let me turn this light down for you. And like I said, I don't know if you can tell by looking at it, it's not primarily made for me. It's a little bit dry looking. It's a little bit matte. It's a little bit flat, you know? And I'm not sure exactly what it is yet, but I want to say that there's a confluence between a coverage level on a foundation product and the actual undertone on me that makes what you can see through it kind of gray. So if I'm a little bit, like I'm neutral to slightly warm, something that would make me gray would probably be green. So there's like maybe a little too much green in this formula, in this particular shade that I have. Even though it's my best skin tone match in the line, it's a little green, I think, and that's why it's making my freckles look kind of like gray. and that is not my favorite thing. So we're going to try and alleviate that with bronzers and things like that, but that is my like initial take on this. And one thing that I have found with this is that I can, on a very dewy face, like if I really prep the heck out of my skin, I can get it to go really, really thin. And it will kind of just sheer out and take on whatever the texture is of like what I'm wearing under it, you know, like if I'm wearing a really dewy sunscreen. I've been wearing the Josie Maran Get Even Skin Milk. It's an SPF 33 and it's really, really dewy. It's beautiful, but like makeup, it really puts makeup to the test, or it kind of pushes makeup to the limit sometimes because it does just kind of have such a strong opinion on what the texture of my skin is going to be that day. I found that like when I wear that, a lot of, you know, these satin finish, skin finish, natural finish foundations tend to kind of break up more quickly. This one just kind of agreed with it and thinned out in a nice way. And I appreciated that about it because I think that its ideal coverage level is this, and building, you know, it's probably going to look like this in most cases applied with a brush or something. But if you like mix it in your hands and like really work it in, it's not going to look really, really wild, you know? Oh, Spam Risk, my best friend. So I'm using the Kosas, the Revealer Concealer. It has the right amount of, let's be real, everything for my skin. I just really like it. It took me a while. I came back around to it. I still love the Item Beauty. I have to admit though, the Item Beauty, there's something really like deterrent to me about how messy the package is. I can't figure out why. Maybe it's that giant doe foot, but like the thing just doesn't seem like it's very hygienic because it's just so gloppy all the time. And this one is just a little bit more tidy. All right, so there is the complexion, and now that I've got that on, the Kosas, you know, things look a lot better, mainly because that grayness that you were seeing is mostly underneath my eyes. So, you know, getting a little extra coverage there that's more brightening is better, but you can still see kind of this like, kind of a green tinge, right? Like it's just, everything's wanting to look a little bit oddly green and not in a flattering way, like in the contours of my face and stuff, and it's just the undertone of that particular shade, shade 3. So if you are my skin twin, I would not recommend this. This is not quite the right shade. All right, so the next thing that I want to try today, and I mean I reviewed it in my big bronzer roundup, my big cream bronzer roundup, but I got really scared the first couple of times that I used this, and I kind of just like put it down and went for other things because I was afraid that it was gonna like ruin my whole face of makeup. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer in 1, and they sent a brush with it, okay? And it took me a long time to actually try the brush, but the brush actually makes a pretty big difference. It's just this kind of, you know, dense, big kabuki. And the reason that I got initially afraid of this is because it's really, really pigmented. It's just very matte. It's almost like a cream foundation or something. So, you know, when I go to tap something on, it can like stamp, or it can just be too much, you know? But there's something about this little brush that I actually feel kind of comfortable buffing with it. Just a little, you know what I mean? And you're supposed to almost swirl it in the product, which is terrifying because that would pick up so much. But it's like, instead of patting, I'm just barely buffing. We should need Khaki, did you just have a stroke? We should have, and also we need a word for that motion. A swipe tap, a buff tap. I don't know. One of you guys will come up with something really clever, I know. By the way, I have not, other than this video, been able to put down that Westman Atelier bronzer. It brings me so much joy. It is the easiest thing to put on. I never have to think about it. Oh my gosh, and it's the best color. I know that, like I said, it was a little bit red, and maybe it is, but somehow that makes it work all over my whole face. I will probably end up using it today because I do want to end up kind of bronzed as a result of like how strangely green everything is right now. So lines of demarcation, yes, but also I picked a little tiny, just the tiniest little, it wasn't even a milia, it was just a little bump underneath my eye, and it swelled up like I had gotten stung by a bee, and that was on Saturday, and it is now Tuesday. Never again will I mess with that part of my face, okay? Okay, lesson learned. she says, knowing full well she'll do it again. You guys really liked the Luna video. Thank you for that. You guys gave me a lot of really good recommendations for future videos like that, but you really liked the style of it and everything. I really enjoyed making that video. I loved how the footage turned out. I loved like the natural lighting and everything. There was just, it was a beautifully timed change of pace for me. It was like kind of exactly what I needed that felt just tangent enough to the rest of my channel and the way that I talk about things, but like something else, you know what I mean? Something a little bit different that I'm still really, really, really incredibly interested in. So that was fun. I'm so glad you guys liked it. We will definitely be doing more of those. So let's go ahead and do some of this YSL. I think NU might be kind of like a sub-brand. I'm not totally sure, but this NU right here, I mean, this was much less expensive. It was like under $25 for YSL, and it's, you know, very like Glossier looking packaging. It seems like it's trying to be more accessible for like a younger customer. And the formula is still incredibly sophisticated, does not have any kind of fragrance to it, and it has this glorious kind of like warms to the touch kind of texture where it actually comes out of the tube looking almost a little bit like it's going to be really silicone-y, really dimethicone-y, but it's not. It's beautifully balmy. And also, you guys have heard me talk about this before, but this is a shade, this kind of like berry fuchsia color that I crave to be able to wear because it's just like a very appetizing color to me. I paint with it. I always want to wear it on my lips, but I have a really hard time wearing this color because sometimes it'll just be too blue or too candy apple red, and it will look so unnatural on me, kind of like clown paint, you know? I don't know yet what the difference is here, but this works. Might be the formula, it might be something about the color, but it's just gorgeous. It actually like pulls a natural color out of my lips in a way that's like, I don't even want to put too much on. You know, it's just a really natural looking color. I do love that they call it neutrals too, because that's what we're always talking about. In case you're new here and you don't know what we're talking about when I say fjordsy, it's drawing from the idea of me at one point saying I wanted to look like a Nordic child running through the fjords. Basically like I had gone and taken a few laps outside in cold weather. Mind you, like casual laps, not the kind where my whole face turns a very unflattering shade of red. The kid playing on the playground or something like that, you know, in the winter. I think that that is accomplished with this. It is supposed to be something that kind of looks like nature might have done it, but just a little bit better. And I am going to powder, don't worry. That's how we're going to kind of break up all of these like hilarious like paint by number delineations that are happening right now. I think I'm gonna do that now. I think I'm gonna powder now. And I'm gonna actually use this Givenchy because I would love for things on my complexion to be neutralized right now. So this is the Prism Libre, and it has 4 different colors and they mix together. And there's one here, you know, lots and lots of different skin tones. This just happens to be the fairest one. You mix them together, and this does have quite a fragrance. It goes on, you know, wherever. I love the smell. There's something about it. I like that smell. I don't know if I'd want it like in a lipstick, but I like it in a powder. I wouldn't mind, you know, a body wash or something that smelled like that. It's just kind of sweet, a little bit floral, a little bit fruity. Yeah, so what I was saying is just like, I'd love for something to neutralize the weird greenness of that foundation right now. And I also think that I'm gonna come in with the Westman Atelier. So the main thing about that Charlotte Tilbury bronzer is just that, I said it when I swatched it, it is almost gray. And so it looks a lot like a contour. While I love kind of the appearance of it and the actual ease of application, it's almost too cool for my skin, almost too gray or desaturated for my skin. And the next one is quite green? Is it green or is it red? I can't remember, but the next one's like a little much for me. Either way, I'm going to go in with the Westman Atelier bronzer as well. Yep, I love this. It is such a nice color on me. Yes, I'm putting it a little bit underneath my eyes even. That's actually how Miss Gucci Westman recommended doing it the most natural way, you know, was to just kind of follow the lines where the sun would hit you. We're still very bright underneath my eyes. I almost want to do something to alleviate that, but I'll do it after I do my eye makeup. Yeah, this is a color and a formula that I can get very carried away with. I apologize to everyone in my past since 2019 who has told me that I needed to buy this bronzer, and I was always like, it's another one of those things where it's like, I just had some chip on my shoulder about combining powder with cream, and that she would put out a powder product with no other powder products in her entire line. I was like, that's stupid. There's not even a finishing powder. Why would I do? No, it's because the formula is ingenious. Also, someone did tell me in the comments, again, I haven't watched like every tutorial from every creator kind of thing, but that they had seen something from Gucci Westman talking about how she didn't recommend using her new setting powder underneath the eyes. And it might be because of kind of the weird HD white cast, the way that it settles into like micro fine lines underneath your eyes. It might be why. Here we go. We're gonna talk about this Guerlain quad. When I saw this online, it's $85, so it's like right in line with a Tom Ford quad, which I own 3 of, and I am kind of notorious for saying that I am disappointed by them every time, either because the formula is a little bit weak, more so than I even think is acceptable, and also the color stories don't really make sense to me even when I buy like the tried and true ones, you know. I just find them to be finicky, especially in the context of how expensive they are. But you know, I realized I own a lot of luxury eye quads, a lot, and I own one or several in just about every brand out there. Their formulas, you know what I mean, just to get my head around the formulas, and this was the one that was kind of missing. And I saw this one come out, you know, on the new on Sephora. I was just fascinated. I was like, even if it's terrible, say it with me, guys, I just need to know. So I bought this one. This is the 530 Majestic Rose, and I'm going to apply this today, but I'm also going to swatch it really quickly against some things to show you that I didn't need to buy this at all. Wouldn't have known that had I not bought it, but I didn't need to buy it, so I'll show you. All right, so there is the Guerlain quad, and I will tell you, it's so much better than any Tom Ford formula I've ever used. When you guys watch me put it on, it's very, very easy. Whether the colors appeal to you, I'm not even sure they like 100% appeal to me in terms of being like a self-contained look, but the formulas are just light years more agreeable than the Tom Ford ones, in my opinion. I present Exhibit A. The RMS Redimension Hydra Powder Blush in French Rosé. Exhibit B, the RMS Redimension Blush in Hanky Panky. Exhibit C, the Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek and Eye Shade in Ray. And Exhibit D, the Highlighting Powder in Pink Glow from Bobbi Brown. If any of these shades in the quad excites you and you own any of these cheek products, you do not need to buy this quad. I mean, we're not talking about exact dupes, but we are doing far more than duping the vibes here, okay? These are the same like shifts, same, just same energy, okay? So yeah, you definitely do not need that if you own those. And also just bear in mind that like anything else in your collection might be able to accomplish that. That's the whole thing about when you get excited, or when I get excited about a quad that has very easy to wear quote unquote shades for me, which tend to be kind of pinks and browns. The reason they're easy to wear is because those are the colors that are on the rest of my face too, which means that I probably own the colors in a bronzer or a blush. You know, if you need to save yourself money, like go hopping around in your blushes and your bronzers and stuff and be like, do I really need that? Because this is basically a very, very tiny blush, bronzer, and highlight palette. That was why it appealed to me. I'm gonna try and do a look that I haven't done yet with this. I have done looks where I use one shade all over my lid and then try and kind of give like a smoky effect. Today I'm gonna try and go a little more minimal so that I don't have to pull out another palette. That's the idea here. They don't have names. I'm using the brown. I'm using the brown one. They're quite warm as well, which also makes me think that's a bronzer, you know? But let's talk about this formula. It is so much better than the Tom Ford formula, and I feel like it warrants mentioning because it's just the same. It's a very, very similar presentation, and it's a very, very similar price point. You can tell that that's really what they're doing, is they're saying, well, you know, consider this as well in your search for luxury beauty. Maybe this is where you want to spend your 80 some odd dollars. And the thing that this reminds me of is, and I know that that thing is kind of a dupe for something else, but that very hard pressed like blush quad thing from Beauty Pie. Let me pull that out real quick. Beauty Pie. Oh, Beauty Pie. Where is that? Oh, this is what I'm talking about. So it's more coral leaning, and this is a little bit more cool, but it's this kind of like awesome, super pressed texture that's got something really extraordinarily like a blurring on the skin. But the way that it operates on top of like texture and stuff is oh man, so easy. And you know, maybe there exists out there a Tom Ford quad that does this. I don't know for sure, but I have tried not just three different quads from him, but 3 different, I would say, types. I tried one that's extremely sheer, that's supposed to be kind of part of his Soleil collection or whatever. I tried one that's very like straight down the middle, you know, day to night. It's got like evening shades in it and stuff. And then I tried one that's got the little TF impressed into it, which is supposed to mean that it is wet to dry. You know, you can use it on a wet brush or whatever. And like, while that's very fascinating and a cool parlor trick, it's just not particularly user-friendly. It's difficult to use, and like, that's one thing that I think of when a quad, or really anything, you know, comes from a luxury brand. Like when it comes with like little applicators in there and stuff, I'm thinking this needs to be effortless and on the go. And Tom Ford's quads are not effortless and on the go. They're just kind of barely there, or frustrating and finicky. They're just not particularly well executed in my opinion. This though, it just blends and blends. We are still only working in one shade. Let me see if I can just like spread that with my finger, just out of curiosity, you know? Is it one of those? It does, it feels almost like a cream on the skin. Ew. Yeah. Yep. It's just awesome. It's a really, really good formula. I'm not gonna tell you that like it's going to put itself on for you, because there's more pigment to it than that. It's not kind of like a smear it on and forget about it kind of thing, but it's very me in the sense that I do like to give some time to my eye look, but I really want the results to be there. And even though, yeah, even though it's a little bit of like a miniature blush bronzer highlight palette, because it is, it makes me know that I'm going to probably want to try more of these in the future. It satisfies a craving that I wanted the Tom Ford quads to satisfy, and they just didn't. So, like, I don't know if that's particularly even. I don't think that it is. But, that's just one color. Isn't that nice? It just goes and goes and goes. And it's so smoothing. Without being, like, iridescent. Only one iridescent shade in there. So in the interest of minimalism, I am going to just go with that shimmer kind of everywhere and see if we can get something that's like a little bit more daytime out of it, because if you use all 4 of these shades, it goes drama pretty fast. And I might still like, I don't know, I might still pull some in, but we'll see. They layer beautifully, they blend beautifully. Oh, and the package is really nice. If this is one of those things, I mean, the shiny stuff drives you nuts because it gets fingerprints on it, then, you know, obviously don't let it keep you up at night. But it doesn't really bother me. I am anything but a perfectionist. But I do find the compact to be really, really luxurious without being like extraordinarily heavy or bulky or silly, you know? You can tell when packaging is kind of overcompensating. Isn't that pretty? So I want to pull that burgundy. I'm gonna use that like right out here. Ooh, it got on the lower lash line, but I love it. I just kind of want to leave that little blob. Something about that burgundy color just like makes my eyes pop. I'm tempted. I saw one of my friends using the Charlotte Tilbury. It's kind of a light burgundy, but it is burgundy nonetheless. Her burgundy mascara was a redhead that was using it, and it looked awesome. I'm just wondering if it's too light for my complexion. You know what I mean? If it would just kind of make my eyelashes look sort of oddly beige instead of like dark. So there's that. And oh, I mean, I guess we kind of have to sneak a little bit of the pink in there. It's bubblegum pink. I mean, you can't tell me that's not a fun little palette, right? And then what I'll do is I'll like take this, you know, little eyeliner smudger, my little friend here, and I'll wet that just a little, boop, boop, dip it into the shimmer, and just try and get a little, yeah, look at that. Oh my God, I've never tried using them wet, guys. Wow. Whoa. That goes right to Pat McGrath, you know? Love that. Love it. So I'm going to throw my brows and my eyeliner on, and then we will come back and put this mascara on and chat about everything else. Chat about everything else. Let's get a little bit of this. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I want to try this mascara, and I have to admit, I keep forgetting. I'm just never eager to try a new mascara on my own time because I'm like, what if something horrible happens? So, let's see. Pretty sure that this is a normal wash off, you know, just a regular, it's not waterproof, and it's also not tubing, and it's got an extremely spiky wand that you could very easily poke yourself with, because I am currently doing so. It's definitely really elongating, builds a lot of volume. And as always, I will stick in a photo of me fresh out of the shower to show you how it washed off. Thought I would give you guys a little bit of footage of before I got in the shower too, because I wanted to show that there was very, very minor smudging, and this was after like really intense yoga that was like pretty sweaty, so pretty good. I'll be honest, this kind of behaves like a really great drugstore mascara. You know? That's about the most we can hope for, right? From Sephora Collection. Ooh boy, we're really going in. I kind of can't stop. Okay. Yeah! That's a really freaking pretty mascara, guys. Also in that category of like drugstore priced is the Beauty Pie mascara. That thing is awesome. It's so good. Need to do a little bit of clear brow gel. I used the Authored brow gel today. Someone mentioned it recently and they were like, do you still use that? I was like, I forgot about that. It's so good. It reminds me a lot of Boy Brow. I used it today. It's very pretty. It's just, I don't talk about it very much because Authored is really hard to get. It's only like in the UK, or you're gonna pay a lot in shipping. And I did. I bought that myself. All right, so taking a look here, we're going to start with some lip liner, and then I'm going to go in with this lip gloss. Yeah, we'll use Worthy from Rare Beauty today. And this is, again, Sephora lip gloss. It's just called the Gloss Lip Gloss, and I have it in the shade Lover, which is a clear that has a pink, almost holographic glitter in it. And like, it's a perfectly fine lip gloss and it's not very expensive. I don't understand why it went viral on TikTok other than somebody saying like, hey, we'll pay you to talk about it, because it's definitely on a lot of pages that's like, get paid to talk about this on TikTok. Like, that exists. So you never know. I think we need more blush because I always think that. So this is the RMS French Rosé that we just swatched earlier against the new Guerlain palette. But Also, upcoming is going to be the RMS foundation, the new foundation review, and I'm gonna be using all the other RMS products that I have from their newer releases, like the new eyeshadows, new-ish eyeshadows, since they changed CEO-ship, since they changed management. I'm gonna be using all that stuff. So it's not technically a full face of RMS, but it's gonna be using like several different RMS products. And I now have 3 of these blushes. I think this is the touch that this needs today. Holy macaroni, she pigmented. A little tippy tap. This has a really beautiful finish to it, almost like a highlighter. Beautiful blurring finish. And then, you know, Givenchy powder is great and everything, but like nothing can keep me from my love here. And that is, am I like doing that gross thing? Blah. I feel like I have too much lip gloss on. Kosas. That's what I was going to say, Kosas. It's brightening, but it's so blurring that it does such a good job of blending that funky line that I get because I like to wear so much blush. Okay, I think that that's the vibe today, guys. I'm gonna take my hair down. As much as I like having it in a ponytail and getting it out of my way, looks like I'm bald. Being bald is fine. I just don't happen to be bald. Okay, so I'm going to hop into the claims just on the foundation, and then I'll give you guys just like a quick and dirty on the prices on everything else. So let's talk about this foundation real quick. It is, like I said, $58. It comes in 36 shades. It is vegan, natural finish, liquid formula, long wearing, medium coverage, cruelty free. And it says, inspired by the iconic ambient lighting collection, the collection that was very uninclusive, this foundation is infused with blurring spheres to minimize the look of imperfections for skin to look smooth, even, and glowing. The transfer resistant formula is also resistant to humidity and sweat for flawless looking coverage that stays in place. So I can corroborate, it's pretty lightweight. I like that about it. It is quite long wearing, but it also gives the long wearing vibe. You know, it's got the kind of like satin finish to it that you think of when you think of something long wearing. It is much more of a foundation than like the Fenty Eavesdrop, for example. What it reminds me the most of is the Gucci foundation, I want to call it the Fluid Debutante or whatever it is. That one is $68, so it's $10 more, same amount of product. It does have a fragrance, but it does have a lot, I want to say it has a lot more shades. Let me see. It has 40 shades, and so I do think that they actually, you know, accounted for more undertones. And all the claims are pretty much the same. Vegan, natural finish, liquid formula, medium coverage, and they do go a bridge farther and actually say it's best for oily combo and normal skin, which is not me. So I do feel like this is very, very, very similar. It might be a little less matte, but super similar, same kind of, you know, buildable coverage level, same finish, same most everything. I just want to make sure that people understand that like this is definitely not like made for me. Neither is the Gucci. And so don't let this be the selling point for you. Like this, I think it's pretty, but it also looks very like soap opera on me. You know what I mean? It's like too blurred. It looks a little bit surreal and like it's not giving kind of a natural skin finish. This just isn't what my skin looks like. It's not giving any kind of like life to my skin because my skin is just trying to drink up any emollients that's in it and there just isn't very much. So bear that in mind if you're someone who doesn't want your makeup sliding all over the place and you do have like oily combo skin. It's like great for that. Okay, price-wise on everything else real quick. The Guerlain, like I said, is $85. YSL NU Lip and Cheek Balmy Tint with Hyaluronic Acid. I was wrong, it is $26, so it is not below $25, it is $26. And you get half an ounce. The Sephora Collection Gloss Lip Gloss is $10. So, you know, about what you'd pay at the drugstore. The Sephora Collection Size Up Volumizing Mascara is $12. And the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Cream Bronzer is $56 and you get 0.74 ounces. It comes in 4 shades. Most people have like seen plenty of reviews on that by now. So let's chat. Final thoughts here real quick. Again, I mean, I think that I talked this to death, right? But you are now aware by your skin type probably and your feelings on Hourglass whether this is a product for you. If you are my skin twin, I would say it's probably not a product for you. I have to be on a very good skin day to get away with this, and like good skin day meaning balance of my oils. Even if I wear Eavesdrop too many days in a row, my skin starts going help. You know, I do have an appreciation for having like at least a couple of different like foundations and skin tints in my routine, just because I have days where my skin wants something that's going to be really perfected and a little bit more satin matte, and then I have days where my skin is like, you need to do the do and do it up. That said, this is a little too extreme for even like my skin, you know. It's just going to be better for the people out there who are watching my channel and, you know, usually don't get foundation recommendations from me. They're probably like, well, I wish you would talk about something that's meant for combination or oily skin. This is meant for combination or oily skin. This for $26, you know what I mean? I'd love to sit here and hem and haw and be like, oh, YSL, why am I gonna be, you know, I don't need like a tint, no, one more balmy cheek tint from another brand, blah, blah, blah. YSL coming in trying to, you know, get their piece of the pie. But like, $26 is not crazy for half an ounce of, you know, a luxury product. And I like it. Okay, I like it, and I like kind of the modesty of the packaging and everything. There's just nothing about this that particularly bothers me, and I find it to be a very pretty color. I find it easy to wear on different types of makeup. Like I wear it on top of like this, like a mattified look, or I wear it on top of like a very dewy look, and it's super pretty and it doesn't slide all over the place. It's just really pretty. It only comes in 3 shades, but they are kind of nuanced. I like them, and I like this. I just genuinely like this. It's just a nice little thing, you know? Especially because like, it's less expensive, I think, pound for pound than like the Milk Makeup cream blush, you know? This formula of the Charlotte Tilbury is really growing on me. I like it. It's a touch contour-ish, but it's a very nice contour on me, and if you have this, you know that you'll not, it's like a replaceable pan, but like who cares, you know, you're never gonna need to replace it. It's so stinking much product. So yeah, and I do find that like if you are finding it a little bit frustrating, like a dense kabuki like this, you don't need to buy hers, but like a dense kabuki like this actually really makes a difference. Just the right tool. These two things, you know, they're drugstore priced, and I do feel like it's Sephora just being like, hey, why don't you get in the door? Why don't you come in and just, you know, instead of going to the drugstore, let's get you into the door to Sephora. I think that's the concept of their collection. And these are as good as things that I have tried from the drugstore. My eyelashes do look prettybomb.com. It's just a nice mascara, and you can get nice mascaras at the drugstore too. This, again, it's nice, it's pretty, it's a little sticky at first, and I think I put a little too much on at first, but like, you guys know me, it's hard to thrill me with just a thing. It really has to blow my mind, and like both of these are just what they are. They are good versions of what they are. Dun da da da, that's my endorsement. This little baby from Guerlain. So while, like I said, it is a palette where maybe the shades were not necessarily something that's completely unique to my collection, I realized like I could use this all over my face if I could find a brush that worked in there. Still, I can vouch for the formula. You guys saw it in action. It is far more consistent, far more committed, far more luxurious feeling than a Tom Ford quad. It is also not like a Charlotte Tilbury quad. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this because I do want to do a full video comparing all the quads, but it has that really gorgeous like pressed texture that's like some of the Tom Ford stuff does, that gives that beautiful blur, but they're more saturated, they're easier to use, and I personally feel like the color concepts are just a little bit better informed. I feel like a lot of the stuff with Tom Ford and Chanel for that matter, I'm like looking at their quads and I'm like, who, how, what am I gonna, how would I do that? What would that look like? You know what I mean? And like a lot of times, like it's 4 shadows. You really got to get them all right. And I'd be like, 3 of these are fine. And then one of them is just a wild card and I don't know why. Especially one that's kind of in like neutral tones or something. Is technically, it's implied that it's supposed to like solve a day of makeup. You know what I mean? At least it's like, this is going to be the entire routine, or if you want to travel, just take this. You don't have to pull out another palette kind of thing. And a lot of them just are like, I'm like, yeah, almost. This is doing gross things. This lip gloss is doing gross things. I love the formula, I really do. It's easy to pick up on a brush, it's easy to pick up on my fingers. It has really beautiful flexibility of the formula in that it's like, you know, really, really high saturation and lightweight and blurring, like I said, but also you can like sheer it out a lot. So you can take that really shimmery pink and like you saw, I can use it wet, get like a lot of glow right there on the inner corner, or I can really spread it out, use it up on my, you know, my brow bone, and it's not going to be this like crazy distorting the light kind of highlighter. I think that this is a really beautiful kind of middle point, a Goldilocks, right, of high quality and luxury, but also like a little bit of like the magpie factor that we like when we see swatches, you know, when we see swatches online, it's like that swatch is really beautiful. It doesn't always translate to a really, really user-friendly shadow, but it is something that draws our eyes, and it does both. And it's both blendable and saturated, and again, like the packaging, I'm such a luxury magpie anyway. It does kind of like get me on the luxury, and also just being really streamlined and accomplishing everything a quad goes for, right? So yeah, that's the vibe on that. I'm really, really glad that I got this. I just really dig the formula, and it excites me to find a formula like this that is so much better. It's like it scratches the itch of, oh, I don't know, the $300 that I have spent on top for it. iQuads at this point, so. The jury's out still on the Givenchy powder. I really think it's nice, it's pretty, but I would still, if I was only gonna pick one powder, I would still always buy the Kosas before anything else. It's just prettier. It's just prettier, and it serves every purpose that I would need, and it makes me look young. And I love that. So yeah, that would be the final thoughts on everything. I hope that this was fun for you guys. Again, we haven't done a video like this in a while, so I'm really digging what I managed to do with that quad today on my eyes, because like I said, the looks that I've made with it so far have been very dramatic, and this is just such a low-key, just pretty eye look. I like to see the possibilities of it. Anyway, I hope you guys like this. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If y'all want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. Next one's going to be the RMS foundation review, so stay tuned for that. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.